Hello guys, welcome to my channel. This is CeeCeeG. I wanted to show you something. I have a couple Aerogardens that I plant with, and I also do outside garden work as well. Our family has a garden, but I want to talk about these Aerogarden, the little pods. Well, as you can see, I have two pods up on this picture, and you can see one pod is actually a tad shorter than the other pod. So the one that's, if you're looking directly at it on the right, is the actual pod that came with the Aerogarden. The one to the left is the pods that I bought from Temu. And I bought 100 of them. But what I noticed was when I went to put the grow sponge in it, and once I labeled it, it was pushing up against the label that you put at the top so that you can know what you're growing. You can write with a marker. And the sponge was going way up past it. Once it gets in that water, immersed in the water, it'll expand. And so I was trying, for the life of me, trying to figure out what was going on. So I said, let me just put them two together and see if they're about the same height. Well, they're not. So I'm going to show you what I've decided to do, because I don't necessarily want to throw them out because I spent my money on them, but I had to do a little alteration with the grow sponge so that it could fit and that it can stay inside the water while it's inserted down in the pod, because I found that since when it's sticking up like that, it gets dry. So I'll show you what we're going to do. Okay guys, so as I told you that the pod from Temu is much shorter, so I just want to show you what's going on here. This one is my mom's Aerogarden, and of course you don't see the label because it has pushed past the label. And I had to take it off because I didn't want it to start growing and then it gets stuck under the label after you done waited weeks and weeks for it to start germinating. So what I did was I took it out of the pod, the grow sponge. As you can see, it's soaking wet. Okay, and I'm taking my scissors and I'm just gonna kind of come up a little bit, and then I'm gonna cut it off. Okay, so you can see that the grow sponge is half the size it was when I first inserted it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to insert the grow sponge into the pod and you'll see what happens. You can push it down some, and this time it's sitting down inside. So if you happen to purchase these from Temu, I mean, you can still use them. You're just going to have to cut off the bottom piece of the sponge so that it can fit down into the pod. And then I can go ahead and insert it back in here. And I can just put the lid back on it and cover it up. So I'll show you what it looks like. Okay. So as you can see, I just did this one. Trying to get my finger. I just did this one. And it had already been sitting here, and you can see the condensation on the little top. But now it's sitting much better. And I did the rest of them because I noticed that they were all popping up and it was just getting on my last nerve. So that's all you have to do. So you can still use the Temu pods. They're much cheaper because you can get a bunch of them really cheap. What I'll do is I'll link the pods that I bought from Temu on this video. I'm not a sponsor or anything, but I do like to purchase from Temu because of the costs. Yes, it takes some time to get to you, but to me, I don't care wait. I don't mind waiting, really. So, and I always keep a lot of supplies, like for my Aerogarden, on hand. And another thing, now, like, how you use the generic labels from other companies or whatever, they're okay. I mean, if it's budget friendly, fine. But I'm finding that the circle is slightly off the labels that I get. If I get them from Amazon or Temu, I would prefer to just get them from Aerogarden because they are centered to fit on top of the Aerogarden pod. Now, if it's a Temu pod, you may just, try to finagle the label. You can use the generic ones, whatever you decide to do. There's no rule book saying you have to use the Aerogarden one. But I find that it's much easier to deal with, because with the Aerogarden label in the center, there's little slits in the label. So even if the plant was to grow, it won't get caught up, under that label. That's the difference that I like. But if I use a generic one, it doesn't. It'll get stuck and the plant will stick to the adhesive on the back of the label, and, I'm going to be upset. So it's up to your discretion what you want to use. But I'm going to show you what's going on with these Aerogardens. Okay, so I had to do some more like maintenance. Every couple of weeks you have to do maintenance because it'll get murky in there, and it gets nasty, and sometimes you need to just like get rid of some of the roots and things. So I do have a couple things growing, like I can't see all of them. I would have to show you my list so you can see, because I have to keep them documented on a notepad in my phone so that I know what I'm growing. Because sometimes, yes, the labels do come off, which is annoying. And I keep it so I can keep everything together, because I'm not only just growing outside, I'm growing indoors as well. So I said I had some time today, and I'm going to get these Aerogardens together. So they were pretty much not too murky this time around. I think the top one I had to do the scrub it, but it wasn't too bad. It really wasn't. But I like to just clean it, get any, fungi or whatever is or algae that's trying to grow in it, and just keep it as clean as possible. So like down here, now I know that you can see that some of the squares, the pods, some of them, when I was planting, I tried to remove the growth sponge from the pod, but it was just so many roots, and I just didn't want to pull it out and damage the roots. So I just planted the whole thing into the soil once I transplanted them over. And even if you don't have the squares, because this is a different unit, it's called ZUI or something, that my mom got on Amazon, but it still works. You don't have to buy the Aerogarden. They have so many of these devices, and they're much more reasonable and affordable. So you don't have to pay Aerogarden prices. They're making so many different brands of these things. So, anybody can get one, whether it's 3 holes or a whole bunch of holes. They're really reasonable. So you can still put the circle ones in it, because I used some of the circle pods in this one because of the fact that I didn't want to disturb the roots. So once we're done with it and the plant is gone, dead and not producing, I'll just take it out of there and wash it. It's you can reuse these pods. So that's going to conclude today's video, and I want to remind you that I will be soon doing another giveaway. It will be a garden centered giveaway prize to whoever wins, and if you want to be a part of that contest, make sure you subscribe to the channel. And I appreciate you all for watching and being a part of this video. Thank you for your constant support. I pray that each and every one of you have a blessed rest of your day. And make sure you like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. And don't forget to turn on your post notifications. Thank you so much for watching. And I'll see you on the next one. Peace.